student graduating in June of 2018. I'm so excited. So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to give you the announcements as easy and as eloquent as I can. How about that? So first, I want to tell you that today, Cafe on the Lake is fabulous. We got the Greek salad, flatbread, hummus, stuffed grape leaves, and strawberry cream puffs. So an iced tea and a little sangria. Just want to let you know how to wet your whistle. So anyway, what's big around here right now are the circles, the sacred circles coming up. We're going to be doing it in the theme of this Arthurian, you know, Arthur, King Arthur, Arthurian lore. So just think about that for next week. But anyway, that's what the sacred circles, but you can sign up starting there in the back in the family room today for your circle. So know that. Also, what's big and buzzing is our membership is coming up now. Our membership, the next class is October 29th, but the next celebration is November 5th. And so, now with no further ado, I'd like someone very cool to come tell you all about membership. I'll tell you why she's cool in a minute. Tina!
Rosedale's my girl. She's
That's
cool.
why.
I have to go like this because I'm not as tall and amazing as she is. Hey, I came to Seaside like 4 years ago, and I was going through a lot of stuff. You know that list of stress that you can have in life where there's different events that happen, life events? I had like 8 of them that were going on at one time. So when I found Seaside again, I hadn't even moved here yet, but my friends were going, and I said, I'm just going to become a new member because I know I'm moving up here again. So I decided to do it because I kind of needed to just say, enough. I'm going to make a decision, and I'm going to move forward in my spiritual life, and I knew that Seaside needed to be part of it because I felt good here. I love the music. What do you see our singer today? Because I actually had a CD and played it over and over and over again for myself just to keep myself in that right frame of mind. So I joined Seaside. I started volunteering. I started taking classes. I started getting involved and made great friends and started having a great time here at Seaside and felt like I was part of the family. One of those classes I took was called Calling in the One with Reverend Tammy, and I called in the one, and I'm going to have my first wedding anniversary in December, so yay. And I tell you this because that's what happens when you make a commitment to your spiritual path, and that's why you become a member here, is to make a commitment. So if you've been hanging out and you haven't made it official yet, I invite you to put a ring on it and see me in the back table, and we'll get you signed up. If you have already done that and you want to mentor somebody who is, I invite you to come back and see me and sign up to be a mentor of one of our new members. Thank you.
And with no further ado, I know our service is already being held, but I would like to really introduce our light holder. And it's a wonderful thing that we should do, and he's already probably been holding the light, and that is Rick Merica. Just so you know that there's a lot of practitioners here, you get that opportunity to know for yourself your highest and best, or have them help you know for yourself, but we're here for that, and all of us will be more than happy to do that. So now, the next thing I want to talk about is Jubilee. This is a great, no other person I can't think of but Candace Young Schultz to describe this.
Seaside is a member of Jubilee. Jubilee is an international organization working to end global poverty. At the moment, we have a major petition working to have debt relief for hurricane-affected islands and policies to ensure debt relief for countries severely affected by natural disasters in the future. This petition will go to the IMF, the World Bank, the President, the Congress. Please sign it. The more we let the leaders know that we are concerned about the people who have been so dramatically and tragically impacted by the weather changes, they'll know. Dave Palmer will be with 3 petitions. They're all the same. Clipboards in the family room under the Gene Houston poster. Please see him after service.
Thank you, Candace. And now, with no further ado, we're about to start our service officially. So everybody get up, hug your neighbor, and send some love out there.
Good morning, Seaside. Let's all stay standing together, sing together this morning. I am a center of creation. I am a seed planted in the stillness. I am a center of creation. Fertile ground for the highest thoughts of God. I am a center of creation. I am a tree rooted in fullness. I am a center of creation. Fertile ground for the highest thoughts of God. Center of creation. I am complete, living in wholeness. I am a center of creation. Fertile ground for the highest thoughts of God. I am a center of creation. I am complete, living in wholeness. I am a center of creation. Fertile ground for the highest thoughts of God. Fertile ground for the highest thoughts of God. Fertile ground for the highest thoughts of God.
That is Danielle Tucker, and back in from a late night out. We won't talk about that, but you're a musician, so you're allowed. So, hey, good morning, Seaside. Woo, what a joy it is to be here with you today. Can you feel the place is alive and dynamic, and there is something bubbling and popping here? It's like the top's been taken off the champagne. Woo, is right. Dr. Gene Houston has blessed us over the last couple of days, and your vibration just fills the house, and we can just feel that and sense that. And so I just welcome you to Seaside. If this is the first time you're here, know that it is a welcoming place. It is an affirming place. Our arms are open to greet you. It is a thriving spiritual community that works for everyone. It is a place where we care, we practice kindness, we do our best to let go of judgment and just embrace everyone as we are in this life together making a difference. And what we believe deeply here is spirit first in all things. And so we have a master practitioner here, Candace Young-Schultz, who is going to take us to that deeper place.
Please join me in a moment of stillness. As the bowl reverberates through every cell in my body, it reminds me that God is in every cell of my body. That where I am, God is. Always in and always, the joy, the abundance, the abundanza, the grace, which is God, the peace, which is God, is always mine. It is always there, and it is so for everyone here and for everyone who hears the sound of my voice. That is the truth, and I know that this day And this message from Dr. Reverend Christian is one that encourages, entices us to inquire within more deeply, to that spirit within, to that truth within of what is. And as we know that, we are more joyous, more peaceful, more creative, more alive. And so it is.
Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. Be still and know that you are God. Be still and know that you are. Be still and know that you are God. Be still and know. Be still and know that we are God. Be still and know that we are. Be still and know that we are God. Be still and know.
Welcome, Seaside.
Why, thank you.
Well, thank you. So anyway, I just want to let you know that if you're new, there is a table outside to let you know how much we love everyone that comes in those doors. And at that door, oh, you'll see my name. But also you'll be able to see out there your welcoming packet, and inside your welcome packet, there's going to be a wonderful entourage of things that you can enjoy and you can understand a lot more about Seaside. So go into Seaside and look and see what's going on. Now, I want to tell you a little something about what's going on in our bookstore this month, November. You know, the Science of Mind magazine has our very own Dr. Christian in here a couple of times in articles, and so go look at it. Check out page 61, by the way. You might love it. So it may be a great place for you to start out at. And I want to bring something else to your mind, and that is our heart-to-heart ministry. And what we do in the heart-to-heart ministry is we use this ministry to take our hands and hearts off of our campus and out into the community. So Cottonwood Creek is a place that I want to tell you a little bit about and bring up two gentlemen to actually tell us more about that. From Cottonwood, From Cottonwood Creek Conservancy. Please come up, please.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brad, and this is Mark. And I've got a script here, and if I don't follow it, no telling what Mark will do. So I have to read this. Good morning, and thank you for inviting us to your service and for honoring Cottonwood Creek Conservancy with your donation. Our conservancy was founded by three women. Mary Renneker became an environmental activist and nature conservationist. Ida Lou Coley was already an activist and a local historian. And Maureen Love Calvert was an internationally known wildlife artist and sculptor. They joined together to preserve and restore this natural creek, which is the cause of the founding of this town. Encinitas was born because of Cottonwood Creek.
It was a dark and stormy night. The evening before our first volunteer work party at the creek. The dawn came, it was still drizzling rain, on Saturday, January 2nd, 1993. We had touted the event as the Great Arundo Removal. Arundo looks like bamboo, except it's more invasive. The stems are about 2 inches in diameter. It can get to 25 feet tall. And each stem was cut individually by one of our 130 stalwart volunteers. That day, we removed 160,000 stems of arundo, all of it. And we had 4 chipper trucks working full-time. One provided from the city of Escondido, courtesy of Mayor Jerry Harmon. So this became, at the time, the first large-scale, successful arundo eradication project in the state of California. We have been working since then, just about every month, as we approach our 25th anniversary.
So again, thank you for selecting our Conservancy to receive your donation. Please come and join us on the second Saturday of any month and learn why our founder, Mary Reniker, said, "I was captured by a creek and swept along to something completely new."
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And with that still implanted in your heart, join me in prayer. For it is with my heart of deep inquiry that I'm so grateful to know that it's within that everything comes out. It's within that all my knowledge comes. And so I know that because of my within, it can only be the within of anybody I speak to, anybody I'm in front of. With this inquiry within, I learned that prosperity awaits. I learned that love awaits. I learned that perfect health awaits. And as sure as it runs through me, it runs throughout this entire community. And I know as Dr. Christian tells us about inquiring within, we remember that it's just reaching to the side, up, down, anywhere we want to reach, and we find that prosperity. As Gene Houston say, we find that abundance, abundanza. We find it. And it gives me so much gratitude to know that we have it already. So as you're doing this today, as you're listening to the rest of the service unfold, remember the inquiry is alive as Dr. Christian presents it. And I give great thanks for that. And so it is.
Well, good morning once again, everybody. My name is Danielle Tucker, and I'm here again with you covering for Miss Rebecca Jade today. And when I'm here with you, I'm always so just thrilled to see the amazing talent that comes through here as your special guests, and today is no exception to that. This gentleman is just incredible. He is the music director for CSL Convention 2018. He is a touring musician out on the road most of the time, but fortunately he's here with us today. So make sure you visit him in person at the CD table in the back at the end of the service. Please welcome Gary Lynn Floyd.
Good morning, Seaside. I love coming here. It's so nice to be back. Life is in me, moving through me. beyond question, steady and strong. Power and presence is my essence, been within me all along. What is there to be afraid of? Pure light is what we are made of. Life is in you. Can you feel it? Look inside you, look around. Power and presence is your essence. Where you stand is holy ground. What is there to be afraid of? Yeah. Pure light is what we are made of. Play it for us, Bob. Hands together for Bob Method. Life is in me, moving through me, beyond question, steady and strong. Power and presence is my essence, been within me all along. What is there to be afraid of? Yeah. Pure light is what we are made of. Yeah. What is there to be afraid of? Yeah. Pure light is what we are made of. Yeah. We are made of pure light. 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 Pure light. Pure light. Pure light.
That is Gary, Lynn, Floyd reminding us what we are made of. Pure light. Yes. Nice job. Good going. All right. Good going, guys. Appreciate you. So this morning's message is Gary, Lynn, Floyd. No, Cottonwood Park. No, Gary, Lynn, Floyd. Oh, there it is. Inquire Within. It is actually a message I got walking downtown here in Encinitas and seeing the sign in the window, accepting applications, Inquire Within, or help wanted, Inquire Within. I'm thinking this is a deep spiritual message here. There's one that said surfers wanted, Inquire Within. Count me on. Inquiring within is where we want to go. There was another one that said ramps available, Inquire Within. I was thinking, yep, that count me in. I want to go higher. Take me up there. Know thyself. Love thyself. There you go. So that's really where I'm coming from. And what has happened in life is that we forget that very simple message. And if we open our eyes, we'll see the windows downtown reminding us, Inquire Within. It's really the key, because we get so busy doing life, we forget our connection, and days go, years go, decades go by, and we forget that simple message. And Kimberly, I see Duran there, and it just reminds me of a little girl not much older than Duran. She's about 6. And she said to her mom, why do you go to the university every day? What do you do at work? And the mom said to her 6-year-old that, well, I work in the art department. and I teach people how to paint and how to draw. And the little girl was just astounded and said, "You mean they forgot?" You know, it's like, what happens that we forget these things? And so when we forget, sometimes it's good to hang out around Duran, to hang out around some of this new lively energy. You know, it's no mistake that we got Kat, who's the head of our communications here, with her bubbly expression, reminding us of the zest and the joy of being. There's ministers that are trying to keep their places open because there are churches across the country that are closing their doors for good and just disappearing. It's not happening at Seaside. We're going the other direction. We're growing, we're thriving, and we're expanding. So that's good news. But I got to tell you, there's one old minister guy. I was going to say geezer, but he's not a geezer. He's just an experienced pastor of many years, and the place was emptying out. So he brought in one of the younger guys. And he said, "Okay, I'm going to give you a few months, see if you can liven up this place, get some more people here." And so in a few months, we'll get together and talk. And a few months passed. They got together. And the guy said, "Well, the music, you know, it's kind of livened up, that rock band, kind of loud. But, you know, people seem to be liking it. You know, the front row is always empty. And, you know, these theater seats you have there, the big cushions, kind of working, getting people sitting there. But I don't know about the drive-through confessional. You know, it's the neon sign on the roof I've got questions about. Honk and tell or go to hell." But there's always possibilities if you're willing to be open to them. Some of them are yours, some of them may not. But what is important is that you inquire within and say, "Hey, is this mine to do? Do I relate to this? Is this who I am?" So that's the important question. E.E. Cummings, wonderful American essayist, he's actually a painter also, left us close to 2,900 poems. He said, "To be nobody but yourself in a world that is trying to make you everybody else means to fight the battle, the human battle, to the very end. You must never stop." You know, to have the world to try to have you be everybody else but yourself means to fight that human battle to the very end. You can never stop. You've got to continue to say, checking in with on the inside, inquire within. Is this me? Is this right for me? Is this who I am? I mean, a little more contemporary individual, Bette Midler, she said, "Cherish forever who you are." She actually said, "Cherish your uniqueness. For when it's gone, you're just a yawn." Cherish forever your uniqueness, because when it's gone, you're just a yawn. You're just like someone else. You've got to inquire within it. Is this me? Kurt Cobain, a little bit more contemporary, a little bit more on the edge, for sure, a whole counterculture. But he definitely spoke the sentiments of an emerging voice for consciousness. He said, to try to be somebody else is a waste of the person you are. Got that? When you're trying to be somebody else, it is a waste of who you are, who you came into this world to be, who it is you are to express. Now, granted, as we're expressing ourselves and discovering who we are in the world and the dynamics that are going on, we may stumble. You know, we may have our foibles and fumbles and flops and flaws, but you got to love yourself. And when you love yourself and all those flaws, it doesn't mean you got to keep them. You got that? You got to love yourself. Yes, you got to love yourself, but if there's something that's out of balance, you've been checking in and it doesn't feel right, you know what? You can let that go. Now, there's some I'd like to personally hold on to, you know, kind of who I am, my stumbling and bumbling. But it's important to check in, because when there's a challenge that's going on, if there's a difficulty in the problem, if you can take that problem and allow it to be something that empowers you. You got to be looking. You know, you got a problem, can you flip it over and allow it to be something that empowers you? If you can take a stressful situation and flip it over, you know what, stressed spells backwards? Desserts. There you go. So if you can take your stress and flip it around and turn it into your desserts, your goodies, that delectable something that is going to empower you to step into that next iteration of who you're meant to be in this world, then it becomes a very positive thing. It becomes masterful. And it's all a matter of how you choose to ingest it and inquire within and say, what is meant for me here? Not the story my head's telling me, but what is my heart, my soul, my spirit telling me? last night having dinner with Dr. Jean and Linda, she was asking me about my dad, and I love going back to my family memories. It's I was one of those strange kids that actually had a happy childhood, you know. I had a wonderful tribe and a clan. My mom was the matriarch, and the characters that went through our house consistently. We had the crazy Hungarian, Tata Marie, my mom's godmother, lived with us for 25 years. She was born in the 1890s and lived to 99. She was old. And but strong and sharp, or as sharp as she ever was, but to the very end. Then my godfather, the Colonel Fred Gavlin of World War II, man, he was scary, but he loved me, so I never had that kind of issue and problem. And then there was Miriam, bless her heart. She was actually literally hit by a train and looked like it. And and she was sure that the Nazi doctor was trying to kill her with sleeping pills. And these are the characters that I grew up with. And so the home was alive and dynamic and pinochle every Saturday night, and just the noise and the family and the fun and the food. It was wonderful. But one of the things I loved, my dad was my hero. He was my hero, is my hero, and I would just go with him on whatever errand. And my dad grew up in the Midwest, and boys in the Midwest went hunting and fishing. That's what they did. And he had a boy, that's me, and he used to take me hunting and fishing, only birds and rabbits, but I know it's not cool in California. Waking up early in the morning when it was dark out and getting in the car and going was just, it's probably why I still like waking up to do Sunday mornings at 3:30. There's an excitement, anticipation of something that's going to happen. But I was 15 years old, not quite driving yet. We went out to Corona. We had a family friend, Sterling Ferguson, who had a ranch and orchards out there. And we were walking in the fall through the hills, looking for the rabbits and the quail. And I'm on one side of the mountain, and I haven't told this story in a decade, guys, so I figure I could tell it again. But I was walking on this side of the hill, and a shot goes off. And I hear my dad go, "Oh, no." And I come running over the hill, and on the top of the hill is my brother. He's 10 years old. He wasn't carrying a shotgun or anything, and he's down on his knees crying. And I get to him, and he says, "Daddy's been shot. Daddy's been shot." And I looked down the hill, and a rabbit had gotten up between my friend and my dad, and he shot him with a shotgun. And there was my dad just standing. Luckily, it was a shotgun, not a bullet from a rifle. And he's just like Swiss cheese, 50, 100, bullet holes tore his clothes, his face, and in shock. And there I am, 15. I don't drive yet, but it's time to learn. And so I get my dad in the car and cover him with a blanket. My friend, he's good for nothing at this point. My brother, he's crying. And then I take down the back roads, the twists and the turns, and I'm going kind of crazy. And my dad all of a sudden comes out of shock, because it's like his kid who doesn't drive is now driving down these back roads. He needs to be paying attention to this situation. And we get out to the freeway, and now I'm going fast. I'm hoping there's got to be police. They always give people tickets. Why not pull me over now? And nobody, but I remember there was a sign that said hospital off here, and so I pull off. We find this hospital. It's like an old country hospital, not the corporate giants. It's like one room, smaller than this, and you walk in, and the waiting room, the emergency room, all in one place, and they make my dad go to fill out insurance papers. He looks like, Halloween thing, and he's bleeding all over the place, and he finally just lies down on the ground and passes out. And so something in this little 15-year-old who just learned to drive a few minutes ago stepped up and started to take the initiative and say, "You need to get my dad a bed." Well, they don't have beds, so they put him on the steel gurney, and he was in the back. It's Sunday morning. There are no doctors in this. So they call, and they bring in some guy, old country doctor, probably older than God. This guy was ancient, which is probably a good thing, because there's probably not too many people nowadays that know how to pull out buckshot. And so what he did was take this big fat gauge syringe, and he'd jam it into one of the many bullet holes, fill it up with whatever deadens it. He would take tweezers, he'd dig around in the hole and pull out that piece of lead, and he'd drop it in the stainless steel bowl. I still can hear it go ding and roll in there. And then he'd shoot up the next one, dig the tweezer. After 3 or 4 of those, my dad sat up and said, "That's enough. I'm done. I'm leaving." And he got out of there, and he was okay as we walked out of that hospital, absolutely healed, transformed. Now, for the next few years, he'd be scratching, and out the lead would come, in his fingers. And we learned early, you don't smuggle anything on Dad through metal detectors any longer. But what was interesting for me is as I came out of that hospital, it was like coming out of a movie theater after a double feature. It was just something was different. Things like seemed quieter all of a sudden. And I can remember I went to the gas station and as if my heart had been pulled out of this protective sheath and presented to the world, as if the world had tilted off its axis. Went in there, people were still buying Slurpees at 7-Eleven. It was like, don't you get something changed? But they were acting as if nothing had changed. They were talking about their trips to Mexico. But things had shifted in my world. It is as if I had just been sucked through the vacuum of a black hole, and I came out on the other side. And I knew at that point my life was different. I didn't know what it was. I didn't even think about that in that moment. But, in retrospect, I look back and recognize my dad had signed up for my greater initiation. My rite of passage from boyhood into manhood. Maybe at some level he was breaking the family genetic chain of hunting, because his dad used to take him hunting, and I'm sure his dad's dad used to take him hunting, and his dad's dad used to take that kid hunting all the way back to the cave people days, or at least the Vikings when we used to pillage. But, that's something that there was a soul agreement on. My dad said, I'm going to do this for my son. He doesn't need a bar mitzvah. I'm going to just give him the real deal here and have him pop into that new level of being. And so I shared this story because, sometimes we are not ready for it, but life says it's time. And if I'm willing to inquire within and say, hey, this story, I'm not liking the way it's going, but there's got to be a higher something here. There's got to be a greater realization that is for my greater good than I can begin to imagine in this moment. Because if it's up to me, don't sign me up. Tweedledee or Tweedledum, the famous duet, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. You know them? He said, I'm very brave generally. Only today, I appear to have a headache. Only today, I just don't want to do it today. But we're not ready because you know what? We're using our thinking, our mind, which is wonderful. I mean, I love our brain. We signed up. We waited in line to get one of these bodies that came with this brain, and some of us know how to work. Some of you know how to work it better than others, for sure. It's a wonderful gift, the sensations of the physical form. But we need to access something that is beyond the human brain or mind. We need to access that divine mind, that the capital M, God mind. It's not like the human and the God mind. It's not the human brain and the God mind. It is that mind, that universal intelligence, that inexhaustible wisdom that is emerging as you, as me, when I am willing to inquire within and slow down in the busyness of the world to check in and say, hey, there needs to be something known here. There's some help that is wanted in the situation. This is the same mind that is ever available to help lift us to a higher place, that ramp that will take you to that higher place. That it is there for us to understand things in a greater way, to connect with the mind, as Gene was talking about, of Leonardo da Vinci or a Michelangelo. It's the same mind that used them, that appeared as them, a Tesla, an Einstein, Edison, a Tesla. Today, you got the Gates or the Ray Kurowitz. You've got the brilliance that is coming forth. We have got, from cars to planes to rockets to interstellar travel. It is emerging when you become available to it and realize that spirit and I are one, and that you are needed for it to be the vortex or for it to express it in this dimension in which we have chosen to play. And if I can get myself out of the way, and I do that by inquiring within and say, hey, this situation's calling my attention. How do I need to know something here in a higher kind of way? Because I'll tell you what Ernest Holmes tells us is that there's only one mind, and that's the mind of God. And it's perfect. It's our mind now. He left us a wonderful mantra or chant. And I'd like us to say this together. If you could put that up there, Marv. And it says that there is only one mind. That mind is God's mind. That mind is perfect. That mind is my mind now. Again, there is only one mind. That mind is God's mind. That mind is perfect. That mind is my mind now. Again, there is only one mind. That mind is God's mind. That mind is perfect. That mind is my mind now. One more time. There is only one mind. That mind is God's mind. That mind is perfect. That mind is my mind now. I've just given you a powerful mantra, and I encourage you to go home and say it over and over. Tuesday night class, we're going to do it 108 times together. It's going to take us 25 minutes, but we're going to do that because as you begin to shift the frequency of your being, you begin to be receptive for that greater understanding of what is going on. Daniel Kahneman, born in Israel, Princeton psychology professor, wrote the book Think Fast and Slow, Nobel laureate from 2002, said, the confidence that people put in their beliefs is not measured by the quality of evidence, but the coherence of the story that their mind has managed to construct. You got that? You know, well, I don't know if I can, but I'll give it a shot. No, he said the confidence that people put in their beliefs is not measured on the quality of the evidence, but of the coherence of the story that their mind has managed to construct. You know, what story are you telling yourself? Because I'll tell you what, if you don't inquire within, this world is going to feed it to you. The headlines, you've seen it. You know, things are going on that stretch the fabric of our faith. You know, Northern California, our friends, the place is just burning up. We've heard from Dr. Edward Villon from the Santa Rosa Center for Religious Science, as well as Reverend Jay Lang from the Napa Valley, and their place is open this morning. I told them they have our prayers there and our tithes from Seaside. We love them. But that wasn't the only place. When we were in Montana, 1 million acres of the forest was burned this summer. Jean still clearing her throat from the fires in Oregon. But it's not only here. Canada it's just ablaze. South America is on fire. Australia has had some epic fires of recent times. You know, and if fire's not enough, you can throw in the earthquakes in Mexico. You can talk about the floods in, we're not talking only the Bay of Bangor, the Philippines and their typhoons. We're talking Houston. You know, we're talking Florida. There is something going on here. And if you follow the headlines, I don't know, it's Armageddon or something that's going on. We need to inquire within and say, what's going on? How is this mother speaking to us? You know, if we are in this symbiotic relationship with this planet Earth, you know, what is it trying to tell us? Because if I don't listen, like any physical body, it gets louder. It speaks louder. It begins to get you and shake you with what's going on. And is it possibly we are living out of balance here? And if it's not just the planet we're talking about, this is a spiritual principle. Science calls it cause and effect. What took place in Las Vegas last week? Horrendous. My heart goes out to all those families that lost somebody, and the hearts and the souls and those that have been impacted. And it's horrendous at that personal level. But there's a larger something that needs to be seen here. And I believe that what's taking place is Spirit speaking louder and saying, guys, you're living in a culture of violence. Look at what the movies, America's pumping out, the blockbusters, the rest of the planet in terms of violence. You know what? We didn't get it was loud enough when we had the killings down in Florida or Sandy Point or terrorist attacks. We respond with anger and revenge. You know, we're living in a culture where there's hatred and bullying and intimidation. It's no wonder it's starting to show up. We've got a person who took machine guns, and a machine gun's only purpose is to kill human beings in war zones. What are they doing in the closets in our homes in America? I get the latest iteration of our continent's culture was based on guns on our hips in the Wild West. But you know what? We need to be the generation that breaks that genetic link of the violence and the consciousness and thinks that is okay. People are stepping forward and taking the shots. And I've got to tell you, if we don't, Spirit will get louder and louder and louder. How loud will it get? You can go way back in history to the Babylonian deluge story of creation, or Gilgamesh's floods, or even Noah, where God just basically hit the reset button. Boom, gone. We'll start over. Whether that really happened or not, I don't know. But what I do know is true is that the story and the significance that their life will take charge if we do not choose to live in the symbiotic relationship with this earth in which we live. You know, let us not allow one negative or several nasty, vicious, heinous events to steal from us the possibility of seeing higher, of inquiring within and taking that ramp to a higher place, of knowing that the presence of God is right there in the midst, and what is coming forth we might label bad and we might label good, but that bad good has nothing to do with God. Punishment and reward has nothing to do with God. Ernest Holmes talks about it being the inevitable outcome of what has been set. And what has been set is a frequency and a vibration and consciousness that cannot but help to outpicture. And if we don't get it now, we may not have floods to wash us away, but we could be blown away in a blink of an eye when the refresh button gets hit if we don't pay attention now. And so as I try to dig even deeper and say, let me hear, see, and feel Spirit, you know, I think of a wonderful person who's influenced my life since the day I took the mantle of ministry more than 35 years ago is Jean Houston. And her brilliance, and she is a nexus of the cultures of the planet coming together. It has a higher observation of what is going on in the world. A consultant to His Holiness the Dalai Lama, consultant to Mother Teresa, has worked with our sitting presidents, has worked with world leaders in 109 countries, and she's sitting here today, and I'm trying to figure out, what would Jean say? You know what? I can ask her, Jean, you want to come up and share some love? Share some wisdom? This is Dr. Jean Houston. Get on your feet for her. I feel like Woody Allen and Annie Hall getting the producer, director. What do you think? Teach?
Well, first of all, I've got to tell you, Reverend Christian, that I just had a major epiphany. And I'll tell you why. In 1946, when I was 9 years old, my mother took me to a very special church. And it was the church of, guess who? Ernest Holmes. Yeah. And I have been trying to remember for so many years what the sermon was, because I remember that I was so struck to the soul by what he said that it influenced me all my life and all of the things that I have done, but I could not remember the words. And then he put them up there. There is but one mind, and that mind is God's mind, and it's in us. And if you know anything about my work exploring the depth and range of human capacities, that's what it's all been about. And that was in 1946, I believe it was April, where it happened for me.
Beautiful.
So I'm in quite a state of, frankly, wonder and astonishment. There is a poem that I believe sums up all of these things that you have just named. It's a poem by Christopher Fry, and it appears in his great play, A Sleep of Prisoners, and it goes, I can remember it. The human heart can go to the lengths of God. Dark and cold we may be, but this is no winter now. The frozen misery of centuries cracks, breaks, begins to move. The thunder is the thunder of the flood, the flow, the upstart spring. Thank God our time is now. when wrong comes up to meet us everywhere, never to leave us till we take the longest stride of soul folk ever took. Affairs are now soul-sized. The enterprise is exploration into God. What are you making for? It takes so many 1,000 years to wake. But will you wake for pity's sake? I mean, look at that poem. It is there. It is running analogically to everything that you've just said. The human heart can go to the lengths of God. We live in the lengths of God. You see, you are not encapsulated bags of skin dragging around a dreary little ego. You are the universe incarnate in a biodegradable space-time suit. You are the living God. You are the living universe. The human heart can go to the lengths of God. And then the complaint, dark and cold we may be, but this is no winter now. We're in bad times. You've lived through the great times. You lived through the good times. Now we're in the great times. We're in the time in which we are facing every bad thing that has ever happened. It is all there. And yet we are being challenged to grow. Dark and cold we may be, but this is no winter now. The frozen misery of centuries cracks, breaks, begins to move. We're all feeling, we're in that incredible movement. Is it the end or is it a radical new beginning? Dark and cold we may be, but this is no winter now. The frozen misery of centuries cracks, breaks, begins to move. The thunder is the thunder of the flood. The flow. But it's really the upstart spring. Thank God our time is now, when wrong comes up to meet us everywhere. It's the catharsis of the pathologies that have dampened our minds. Never to leave us till we take the longest stride of soul folk ever took. Oh, that's why you're here, folks. That's why you're now. You elected before you got born to come here into the 20th and 21st century, to be part of the longest stride a soul folk ever took. Affairs are now soul-sized. The enterprise is exploration into God. Isn't that why you're sitting here this morning and the other mornings? That you are involved in the biggest opportunity that groups of people have ever really known, exploration into God. The new cosmology, the new quantum physics gives us the fact that we have that capacity in ourselves in ways that in terms of groups, I mean, individuals have done this, but in terms of groups, communities, nations, and even the whole world herself, capable of exploration into God. You are loaded with latencies, with capacities, both ordinary and extraordinary, and that is part of our exploration into God. Never to leave us till we take the longest stride of soul folk ever could. Exploration into God. And then the great questions. What are you making for? We can't be lazy anymore. We cannot keep with one of the largest potentials we all have, the capacity for unending sloth. What are you making for? You have to do your human homework and your God homework. It takes so many 1,000 years to wake. But will you wake for pity's sake? Right behind you are all those ancestors. Going back now, we realize, at least 4 million years, all waiting. Just make this gesture. You are the prow of the ship of ancestors, and they've been waiting for you. The universe is holding. The universe is holding its breath, waiting for you to fully wake up and be among the generations that profoundly makes a difference. But will you wake For heaven's sake. I think you will, because you know what? You have to. You don't have any other choice. Isn't that wonderful? Thank you.
Whew, you have been blessed. Wow. So what does one do after Gene Houston? What would Dr. Gene Houston? You'd tell a story. So I got a story for you. Because sometimes we wonder, do I really have what it takes to be the bow? Do we really have what it takes? And it's the story of that little Sufi, foolish mystic, kind of trickster, Mullah Nasruddin. And he was walking down the road, and he saw a guy in the middle of the road crying. And he went up to him and said, "What's wrong?" And the guy was went, "Oh, I'm just so sad. This bag, all that I got, I am so poor. I have nothing. All my belongings are in this bag." It's like, oh. And Nasruddin he grabbed the bag, he snatched and ran off. Yeah, But then, as he got out of sight, he took the bag, and he set it down in the center of the road because he knew the guy was going to be coming, looking. And he got behind a big old rock. And he just waited. And as this man who came down the road, who was crying back there, saw his bag, he got so excited. He ran out and he grabbed his bag and he started jumping up and down with joy and says, "Allah has blessed me. Allah has returned my good. I am so blessed. I'm so good." And with that, Nasruddin came out and said, "Now, could you tell me how that bag that you were crying and miserable about down the road, you are so happy to get now?" You see, we start complaining. We get that brain and that mind into it. I can't do it. This is so big. I'll wait for my politicians to take care of things. I got to tell you, it doesn't matter if it's right or it's left. There's dysfunction going on there. And it's not waiting for someone out there. You've got to inquire within and say, what is it that is mine to do? Because as only as there is this uprising, the consciousness that will neutralize out the horror, the challenges that are going on in this world. But it takes you saying, count me in with what I can do, because I am blessed right now with the bag of goodies that I have been given. And so I'm going to inquire within and see what is it that is mine to do that I can do, even if it's looking bleak, even if it's looking desolate. Have you seen this video? It's gone viral. It was actually 18 minutes, National Geographic. 63 million people have seen this, so you may have. This man walks on every day it's deserted. Flourishing oasis. You can do something too. So don't tell me what lies before you is too big. Whatever your foils or follies or fumbles or flaws are, there's a ramp inside that will take you higher. And so here is about inspiring you to listen to what it is you have inside. Seaside is not about me carrying on Sundays. It is about you being a spiritual leader and taking this message out into the world, out into the community. You are the spiritual leader that this world hungers for, to take it into your business, into your family, into your workplace, into the streets, and begin to speak the new thought, the new idea, the new truth that just quiets the headlines and the fear. Don't allow the fear to diminish the joy and the divine possibilities. You're living in an omniscient, all-knowing universe that is using you, for that one mind is the only mind, that is the mind of God that is moving through you. Allow yourself to be used by Spirit. Say yes by inquiring within, and you will find that ramp that will take you ever higher. God bless you as we do this together. Hey, let's keep it going as we welcome back to the stage Gary, Lynn, Floyd. Thank you.
Open your mind, unfold your heart, relax your senses, feel every part. You ain't got a thing to fear. Looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound. Breathe every breath. Release your cringe. Love without waiting, slowly unhinge. You ain't got a thing to fear. Looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound, yeah. You can stop waiting for love to find you. Look inside your heart. Love's already who you are. It's already who we are. So lift up your voice, lift it up now, now, and let it be heard. Let it be heard. Tell me your story, tell it to me, and don't leave out a word, not a word, no. 'Cause I think I have been there too. I'm a seeker just like you. You ain't got a thing to fear. Looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Deeper still until you come unwound, unwound, unbound. Yeah. Lay it down, lay it down, lay it down, down, unbound. Unbound. Open your mind and unfold your heart. Yeah.
That's Gary, Lynn, Floyd. Reminding us that deep truth. Man, you got a great spirit, Gary. That was good stuff. Thank you. No wonder why our movement has you as their musical director for conferences. Thanks for finding time for us. Hey, this is the time of our service where we have the opportunity to unite together in our givingness. We get to share our love and our offering. It is something we have done every week for the last 25 plus years. And because of this moment, we have been able to support the emergence of that spirit and Seaside's unique kind of offering and pass it along through time for the next generation. And so as we listen to our heart and soul and give from that overflow kind of place, what happens is we feel that being our reality. All of a sudden, we live within that wonderful expression, and as we support Spirit's work, what we find is Spirit supporting its work as us. You give because it's an extension of your consciousness. You're the activity that Spirit is having as your very life. If you truly believe in the emergence or the merging or the re-merging of the emergence of the presence of God as you in this very moment, then there is that abundance. There is the fullness of Spirit that has its way, and give it passage through you at this time. As you support Spirit, your world is blessed in all those ways that are relevant, right, and real. Be the activity of God. So with that, I want to invite our ushers to come forward at this time. Say thank you to this wonderful crew. Thank you to those who mail in your contributions when you cannot be here on a Sunday. It is greatly appreciated, as well as those that practice the auto tithe, that regular systematic support from your world into Seaside. I got to tell you, it helps tremendously to have that consistent flow coming in. And you guys at home, we know you are there. Just thank you so much for your support, your contributions, your emails, your love. We love you, and just keep sending in prayer requests. We're here for you. We're living in virtual times where we're connected. So don't hesitate. We love you, and we know you're there. So with that, as we just unite in consciousness, with this great sense of gratitude as I stand before the most generous of spiritual communities, I know that this is truly a blessed moment where the fullness of the divine has its expression through our very action. For this is a moment in which the richness of Spirit particularizes its expression as our very life. It moves from the conceptual concept of mind into the actual action of being. There is something that is real that is taking place that brings a deep sense of peace and security, because we live and move and have our being in this infinite reservoir that is truly inexhaustible, and we become that divine conduit, that pipeline through which that passes into form. And so with joy, we share that which has blessed our life and know that it continues to bring those blessings to everyone it comes in contact. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this moment to be able to pause and to remember the true source and the peace that comes with. And so it is. Amen. And together let us say this affirmation of abundance, which is: Spirit continues to bless my world. Gratefully I live as the giving expression of Spirit, opening the floodgates of the affluent flow of greater good as my life now. Those are your guys from Seaside. Great job. Bob Mathis blowing that horn. That's Jerry on those drums. That's Harley on that bass. And that is Max on the Paul Lloyd Warner Busendorfer. And so obviously we stand in a place of abundance with keyboards handcrafted in Vienna like that. As we stand here before this bounty of overflow that has come with the richness of our love and our blessing and our caring and our compassion and an honoring of a vision that is yet to fully take form, I know that each of these givers are truly blessed for the gift that has been given and is multiplied. And as it has moved into Seaside, it is handled in good stewardship and it is set forth back into life so it can continue to come from the wellspring of you into the life of others, bringing the richness, the blessings, and the grace and the good and the trust of living. I say thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this moment to stop, to reflect, and to feel the blessings that is. And so it is. Amen. All right. It's Richard Drutman. He is your board vice president, keeping a good eye on us. Taking off on an anniversary cruise through the Panama Canal next week. We will miss you, but thank you for all your support. And I know we're doing new members while you're gone, so thank you for helping organize that. You can see Tina afterwards. So, Gary Lynn, oh my goodness, what spirit, what words, what twinkle in your eyes. You're a gift to us. Thank you. Gary Lynn Floyd. Daniel Tucker, my goodness, masterful, playing to the throngs of North County, and a mama too. So how blessed that you're able to come all the way out from Ramona to cover your girlfriend, Rebecca, and thank you. You're a blessing. And Rosedale, soon to be Reverend, as she is a senior in the School of Ministry. We're loving her up in her final year before stepping out. Thank you for your support today. Giving us sound today, Steve Grant. Giving us the visual is Marv. Good going, guys. And thank you to all the camera crew that's working on behalf of the Crawfords. The 3 cameras going on. You're touching more people all the time. There are literally hundreds and hundreds. I've heard 500 to 600 on Facebook every Sunday watching this. So what is going on here is making a difference in the world. Your presence is significant. You know, one of the things Dr. Jean talks about is this holographic universe. Something that takes place somewhere takes place everywhere is the holographic concept. And so what is going on here is making a difference everywhere. That's how valuable your presence is, and our world needs that at this time as we raise the consciousness. So I'm just seeing if our kids come walking in, but I don't. So I'm just going to tell you, next week I'm starting a whole new series as we have wrapped up Jump Time. Next week I'm going on a 5-week series with Arthur. So I encourage you to come back for that Arthurian lore. We'll go in search of the Holy Grail with Percival and Galahad, and we will we'll play with Merlin and live backwards from having knowing it, and just to be part of that noble expression of the Knights of the Round Table. So it is going to be a lot of fun. Want to be part of that? Then there's Sacred Circles. You're going to be able to take my message during the week in a home near you, no cost, about an hour and 15 minutes. Take it to a deeper level and listen to a group. So the Sacred Circles are starting next week. So I guess what I'm saying is sign up today. It doesn't cost, doesn't hurt. But hey guys, how's it going? Did you have fun today? Yes. Anybody want to talk to me? Yeah, group.
So today we learned about a conservation project about Cottonwood Creek.
You did, so did we. Where are you going to be on the second Saturday of the month? Cottonwood Park, right? Yeah. I'll see you down there. Good job. How's your baseball? Going good? Okay, let's say our affirmation to our kids. Let's say this. We see you. We love you. We support you in your magnificence. One more time. We see you. We love you. We support you in your magnificence. All right. Well, what I want to do is pray. You know, healing is really the thrust of this movement. And this whole morning leads to this moment. All these words and songs and laughter is fun. But it's about moving into this ineffable place, but being there in this collective, energetic, this new vibration, this new frequency. We dial into a new meme that has always been available, but we allow that spirit to merge in a more conscious kind of way. And so I want to invite any of our religious science practitioners to stand in this moment and unite with me in this place, this frequency, this feeling of spirit, this divine pulse that is moving, recognizing that first cause, that first breath, that originating emanation that is moving from the center, the wisdom that guides it all, that infinite intelligence, that divine spirit, that joy, that wealth of this universe that is omnipresent, for truly it is here in this moment expressing as each and every one of us, for being that it is infinite, it is that which you are. that which I am, that which God is, I am, you are. And together in this realization of the truth of the being, healing happens not because I need to say anything, but because I have chosen to step into this vibration of that divine. I feel my oneness and connectedness with this life force, this divine mind that emerges, and in this emergence comes the upliftment, that divine ramp that takes us to that higher place where we are able to see as God sees, to feel and sense the truth, irrespective of what we are being fed by the headlines, the mass media, the social media, the fears of this world. There is no one, no thing, no doctor, no person that can rob our joy and put us on a track of anxiety, for I have chosen this moment to be at peace with Spirit. I choose to live in joy, in a deeper trust and abundance. And as I move with this wonderful flow that already is, healing happens. Now, I don't need to tell Spirit what to do here. It's the infinite intelligence that guides the universe, the galaxies. Oh my goodness, it knows. So I get myself out of the way and I inquire within. I begin to feel something even greater than that which was. It is the emergence of that which always has been. And with that, the floodgates open and Spirit moves. Healing happens in the body, for every cell of our being awakens to its divine blueprint of wholeness. There is an activation that allows them to move in that perfect pattern that is innately ours. The body knows how to heal itself no matter what it is. There is no large or small. It is just allowing that body to do what it knows how to do. I get my mind out of the way and allow that big M, divine mind, to guide this physical structure. And it responds, as does the world in which I walk and I move. This world of form begins to respond to that higher vibration. There is a sense of living in fulfillment and contentment and success. There is a sense of excitement for that which I have come to share and to do at this time. And I am able to do that with the power and the passion and assurance. And I live in that wonderful field of love. A love that shows up in relationships, in intimacy, in honesty, in integrity, communication, co-creation. For the blessings of Spirit moves in this moment, and I know that Seaside is part of this divine vibration, for we continue to be a light that shines bright in this time of question. We continue to offer a new thought, a new possibility, a new way to think, a way that has always been available within the mind of God. But we have chosen to inquire a little bit deeper than the masses heretofore. But we bring this new way of being into the world, knowing that we are integral parts as we are spiritual leaders out in the world in which we walk. I'm grateful for the good that's going on. I am thankful for the words in which we have shared that they are the truth. I'm grateful that this is a thriving, expanding, growing, prospering spiritual community. I live with this sense of grace and gratitude and appreciation, not to anyone or anything, because I am that which is. And so I just live with that sense of declaration of appreciation for the good that is. And I let go to that. It's not mine to do. There's the natural unfoldment of Spirit in my life right here. So I let go and I allow that Spirit, that God essence, that first pulse of it all to have its way. And it's good. It's divine. It's now. And so it is. Amen.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God wasn't hand. But now I can see, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. And this is what you've got to say: I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Sing it out. More strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
I'll tell you what, for affirmation, I forgot to say thank you to everyone that helped out for the Gene Houston event Friday night. You want to raise your hand so we can love you up? There are 39 volunteers. Appreciate you. We love you. We thank you. It was a huge success. And Dr. Gene, you were incredible. I love you. And also a big shout out to Kimberly and Edwin who covered the LGBTQ event at Pride by the Beach yesterday. We thank you for taking Seaside's heart out into the world. And lunch is waiting, so there's Greek salads with protein if you want. But first, let's say the affirmation is, I trust my revelations from within. Touch your heart and say that again. I trust my revelations from within. One more time now like you mean it. Come on. I trust my revelations from within. And our song of grace.
I'm living in love, I'm living in peace, I'm living my life for what I believe, through joys and through fears. In this world I walk, God's grace shines on me, and it shines on us all. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We're living in love. We're living in peace. United we stand as one family. We honor all truth as together we walk. God's grace moves through me and it moves through us all. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace.
Have a great week, everyone.